Hello, I am that Rob Human, and I'm gonna start by saying I absolutely adore the outfit version of Space Engineers 2. I think it's fantastic. I'm really looking forward to where this goes, and it is already more than I had hoped out of what I would ever get out of SE1. Keen, fantastic job. If this is any kind of sign of what's coming, I'm hyped. That being said, we need to talk about tiling. This is a thing that has come up in, of all things, the D&D realm. And there's a video for a terrain maker called Wylock who goes into some of the details about some of the issues that a not well thought out tiling system can incur. And I think this is actually the Space Engineers version of this conundrum, and I want to talk about what the issue might be with tiling and what some quote unquote solutions might be. So I'm just going to dive in here. I've got a couple different areas here that are set up to mimic some thoughts that I had on some builds. The various parts are color coded. Yellow are panels, green are volumes, blue are edges, and red are vertices. For lack of better terminology, I think you'll understand where I'm coming from when we get into this. So all of this is based upon the idea that the 2.5 meter grid is the implicit tiling that the game is designed for. Like, yeah, the unified grid is a thing, and you can break out of that 2.5 meter tiling, but it seems to me that the 2.5 meter tiling is the de facto standard of the unified grid. I posit this based off of armor blocks and stair blocks and machinery and things like that. So if 2.5 meters is the de facto standard tiling, I don't think you guys are maximizing the utility of the unified 25 centimeter grid effectively with the parts that you guys have. And to exemplify this area here uses the 2.5 meter grid tiling. And as you can see, I can't actually build within it and have it be a discrete tiling structure. I have to break out of the 2.5 meter tiling in order to encapsulate a given volume. So I have to actually resort to a 3 meter tiling or a 2.75 meter tiling. And we'll get into the variants that I get into over here, but suffice to say, because of the fact that catwalks or walls take up 2.5 meters on their relevant dimensions, I can't actually work within the 2.5 meter tiling using those blocks. And you can see that by the fact that, actually, let me get over here. The catwalk and the ceiling already break out to 3 meters tall. The doors, doors are another good example. In order to put doors between tile units, I have to break out of that 2.5 meter tiling. And, that's not necessarily a bad thing. However, one of the problems that it has is that, if I wanted to have a stairwell, which works great in this tiling, with wall dressings, again, I have to break out of that 2.5 meter tiling, in order to put walls on the sides or glass on the sides or whatnot. So that discrete 2.5 quote unquote perfect tiling isn't working. The same goes for machinery. In order to encapsulate machinery, I have to break out of the 2.5 meter tiling. So that's a thing. It's a minor quibble, but I think there might be a slightly more elegant way to do this, and if assets are designed for it, I think that'll actually be a stronger use case for the unified grid. As built, as what exists here, there's a couple of variations here that I'm going to get into that kind of shows off. Sorry, I'm still getting used to these role controls. It shows off what our options are as far as adhering to the assets and not necessarily a 2.5 meter grid. So I'm calling this a one block padding system. So it tiles on 2.75 meters. And, this works pretty well. It's what it's got is got a 25 centimeter padding space between each tile unit. And so it works great with the 2.5 meter assets like walls and catwalks and even the doors, but it breaks stairs. In order to climb stairs, I've got this hiccup on it. And again, I kind of trip over the block. Like, it's fine, but also it's not exactly the most elegant thing. An additional problem is that doors are actually 2 units deep, or half a meter deep. So I can't use it as a boundary between 2 tiles because it intrudes on the next tile over. One possibility to fix this is to make doors 1 unit or 25 centimeters thick instead, but I can totally get why you guys didn't do that. That constrains a lot of design space and it looks crowded. I'm with you. Now, option 2 is what I'm calling the double padding. And, again, this works well. We address a lot of the problems where, your 2.5 meter assets are contained within your tiling unit of 3 meters. And so you get, all your machinery is contained within your tile units, mostly. I'll get to that in a second. And doors work great because they can exist on the edges between 2 tile units. So, like, they actually adjoin those 2 tile units, as one might expect. The problem here is that, again, stairs break. You've got a gap in the stairs because it's not long enough. It expects it to be on a 2.5 meter grid. And you get the same, if I can get up here, the same, you're tripping over it. It doesn't actually, tile to a 3 meter grid because it's designed for a 2.5 meter grid. But at least now I can dress the walls with it. That's cool. So that's kind of option 2, and option 3 is actually kind of what I'm gonna advocate for, and I'm gonna come over here and show off what this is. Everything here is on a 2.5 meter grid, but all the assets are 2 meters. So, like, these long edges are 2 meters long, and the panels are 2 meters by 2 meters and whatnot. But it allows us to have constrained, panels that blocks that are constrained to that implied 2.5 meter grid. So I personally would love to see, like, catwalks or wall tiles that are based around 2 meters instead of 2.5 meters. Maybe that's in addition to the 2.5 meters, or maybe that's in replacement to the 2.5 meters. I don't know. But that's a thing. The other, and this does include also doors. Like, doors can continue to be half a meter deep, but it'd be great if they were, like, 2 meters tall and 2 meters wide instead of 2.5 by 2.5. Now, actually, let me address this. This green bit is kind of a stand-in for the dimensions of what the gravity generator would be, and you'll notice that it's 2.5 meters by 2.5 meters by 5 meters minus half a meter on each dimension. So it's actually 2 meters by 2 meters by, 4.5 meters. And what this lets one do is, again, keep it entirely constrained to the tiling units. It just happens to be 2 tiles tall. But then also I can dress it with windows or walls or catwalks without breaking the bounds of the 2.5 quote unquote perfect grid. The one exception to this is stairs. And stairs kind of need to break that perfect tiling because it needs to perfectly line up from one floor to another floor. So using this system, stairs are actually the perfect height. The problem is that they're not the perfect width or depth. I honestly would love to see stairs be 2 meters wide. Stupid roll control. 2 meters wide by, I guess that's the same 4.5 meters deep, so that again I can work within the established perfect grid and surround it and dress it the way that I'd like to, but still be 2.5 meters tall so that you get, the perfect transition between tile levels. Stairs, ramps, and I imagine ladders, whatever the case may be, are probably the one exception to that 2 meter plus, I'll call it, I guess, tiling dynamic. There's probably a couple others, but I think I would advocate for most of the machinery when, it's n by or x by y by z minus 0.5 in every dimension, so that again it can be constrained and dressed and surrounded by panels and whatnot. I think this also would have minimal impact for raw builds. Like, I don't think if you just plop a gravity generator down on a standard tile, it will be that game breaking to have it be half a meter smaller, like shrunk by 25 centimeters on each face. I don't think that would impact less structured builds, but I think it would be a great boon to those of us who do want to work within that quote-unquote perfect tiling. That's pretty much what I think I kind of want to advocate for, or at least put in someone's head at Keen. And I never really highlighted what the issue is with the 3 meter tiling, is that this is on top of a catwalk, but it doesn't actually fill the space, which, minor quibble, but it kind of speaks to that whole it's not designed for this. So that's my proposal. Like I said, I just kind of want to get it in front of someone at Keen to put it in their heads and be like, hey, this might be a different way, or I'll be presumptuous enough to say better, quote unquote, way to think about what the unified grid will allow builders to do, and really maximize the flexibility and utility of the unified grid. So therein ends my talk. Thanks for listening. Looking forward to more releases. Good job.